necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, this is Muriel Weiner, creator of Design Aligners. Welcome to my new show, Muriel Uncluttered. It's been my experience as I go through my own life clutter that the universe will always bring me something to make a bigger mess. My vision is to bring people to this show with tools to unclutter your life and to bring you to a place of faith, not fear. If you'd like to be on my show, you can call me at 1-888-565-1470. Or you can email me at Muriel@designaligners, that's DESIGNERLINERS.com. Don't forget the S.
Ready? You're on.
Oh, I'm on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Muriel Uncluttered. Today is Tuesday, March 20th. Happy Tuesday. Happy birthday to my nephew Benjamin. And let's see, and happy birthday to Freddie.
Happy birthday, Freddie.
Happy birthday, Freddie. We have something for
Muriel
Freddie.
brought you a treat, Freddie.
Freddie, you should come in here now.
Forget about running the show.
We're not going to have a show. Tonight is dessert. Anyway, tonight we are waiting for an attorney, very interesting woman, who has come up with an interesting game plan on how to be a lawyer 101. Rather than be in a chair and just doing all of the writing and all of the briefs that they have to do, everything can be technologically done. So Pam Polani can do this from any place. She's set up a virtual office. And so for your convenience, she can go to your house because maybe you're busy. Nobody likes to go to the lawyer. My brother's a lawyer. I understand not liking lawyers. They're a tough crowd. And so Pam is going to visit with us in a little while. I guess I don't know. She's not here yet, but she will be here.
She was meeting with a client. Pam is an elder care attorney. She's meeting with a client. She said she's 3 minutes away, but she's on her way. But Freddie, for you, Muriel couldn't make your birthday party yesterday at the gallery.
Freddie?
So she brought you a very special, what did you bring?
I brought sugar-free cheesecake from Junior's.
See, your very much favorite.
Freddie?
And I'm sure it will equate to your points as well. So happy birthday.
Do we see him?
We don't see him, but he sees us.
But is he coming in for his cake?
I don't know, Freddie. You need to come in for your cake.
Grab a fork. Let's do it. I'm
Grab
hungry.
a fork and have a slice of cake.
There you go. How was your week so far?
My week so far was good. It's birthday week at the cafe, so we've just been eating our way through the way. But everything has been good. How about you? Pam is great. She should be here any minute.
I'm not worried about that. She'll be here, and we can hold
Well, while
our
we're waiting,
own.
why don't we talk about designer liners?
Designer liners. These are designer liners.
And how people can find the show.
They are decorative trash bag liners. And they can be used. Oh, and there we are with them.
Here
it's
is
right
your cake.
here. Come on.
Have a seat, Pam. Hi, honey.
That's what I said.
Oh, thank you, Lovey.
They said no strawberries.
And I bring presents for you, too.
Oh, thank you.
A little fur, no less. 'Cause I kind
With
of
fur.
Freddie, here's your cake.
I feel like Lisa Vanderpump.
Oh, good. Hi.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Look up your points.
No, it has no
What's
sugar.
the cake for?
Freddie's birthday.
Today?
Yesterday.
I brought him a present I didn't even know. I'm so good.
Pam is so good.
good.
She's so good.
I'm so good.
I read about you. We
Ooh, what'd you
printed
read?
out. This is Pam's.
Oh, my God. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I'm skinnier and younger. That's okay.
You're skinnier. You look good.
I do.
Yeah, but
Any day above ground is a good day. Really.
we were just talking about that. How do you know?
Well, because I'm above ground.
How do you know?
Oh, I need to talk closer to the mic, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Below ground is better.
Could be, but I don't want to find out yet. I'm going to fight it.
See, I have a little bit of a problem. A friend of mine passed away
Oh, I'm sorry.
yesterday,
I'm sorry.
and it was all over Facebook.
Really?
You know, it used to be very organized life. You would go to the obituary column and find out in a gentle way. And this way,
Right.
when you read it, you know, after all of the glamorous pictures of their lovely lifestyle and you know, all of the things that go along
Right.
with being with being Michael. His son killed himself 6 months ago, and now my friend, my friend, died from cancer. So I read this
Every
today.
season. Every time, everything has its season.
Unbelievable.
You know, I have to tell you that I think that's maybe why I do what I do. I was the kid who would read the obituaries. Everybody else was reading Dear Abby. I was reading obituaries. My mother would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I think it's fascinating how people die, who they leave behind." You know, 10 years old, and I was reading obituaries.
My sister-in-law is on my mother's and my father's headstone. I don't know why she wants to be there.
We got to get off this topic because you want to know something? Life is about life. It's not just about death. So as sad as you are about your friend, you still have to embrace what's going on good in your life. Because I can see you're going to spiral over this. I can tell.
I'm not going to.
But
I'm shocked.
Well, it's been a very sad day. There was another school shooting, as you might well know.
No, I don't know because I was busy all day.
There was another school shooting in Maryland.
Oh, my.
So it was a very tragic day, again, for many people. And I want to always remind...
How is this going to stop?
So I was going to say, well, okay, but I deal with a lot of death because I'm a probate attorney. So I'm always hearing about people who are dying. And I'm going to say that the one way that I always stay somewhat above it is remembering that the important aspects of life is life. Protecting what you have, cherishing what you have. When you die, whatever it may be, it's a whole nother chapter, if you want to look at it that way. I
agree with you.
And right now, we can't worry about that. So my husband has this great saying. He says, don't borrow pain from the future.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
I know. He's my Svengali.
I'm telling you, I'm putting that on my headboard.
Yeah, don't borrow pain from the future. Isn't that awesome?
That's wonderful.
Saying, right?
I like your husband.
I do too. I'm going to keep him. But the point being is, many people like to think and borrow the pain from the future instead of dealing with what's going on today.
I think they call that fear.
Fear is a reaction.
That's true.
It's not an action. It's a reaction.
That's true.
And so when you're talking about different aspects of life, you know, again, my big push is take care of you. So, you know, the empty pitcher cannot pour water. The first thing the flight attendant says, put that mask on your face before you ever try to help anyone else. And we, especially as women, tend to forget that the most important thing is to take care of ourselves before we try to take care of other people. So I'm always advocating for everyone who listens to whatever I do and whatnot, let's take care of today. Tomorrow has a wonderful way of taking care of itself. There's nothing we can do about yesterday, okay? So no regrets, no borrowing. Let's handle what we have in front of us. And today, in Florida, we had beautiful weather, convertible weather. I ran around with my top off all day. It was lovely. Thank you very much. And what I mean by that is my convertible top was down. My hair flowed. I got curly hair because of it. I love it. And this is the joy that we have. I get to see you. I get to be in front of you. And we get to talk about how we can empower ourselves rather than feeling vulnerable. And coming from a source of strength is always going to do you better in life than reacting to your fears and your terrors. Right? So you got a beautiful cheesecake. It doesn't even look real. It really looks like rubber. Really? It is?
It's sugar-free cheesecake from Junior's. But
sugar-free?
You're not from New York.
I'm not, but I did have the pleasure of going to Junior's in New York. A very good friend of mine, who also, by the way, passed away recently, said to me, you have to do this, this, and this. You're going to go to Sardi's first, then you're going to go see a play on Fifth Avenue, and then you have to finish it with cake from Junior's.
Okay.
So I took my mother-in-law and my husband and I, and we had a lovely day of it. And the cheesecake was incredible, but it wasn't a plain one.
Right?
Oh my gosh! But it was like chocolate cheesecake. I'm not a cheesecake fan per se.
Me either.
But
they used to make it with peach. Once they tried peach, oh my goodness, that was just the most delicious thing I ever ate. When I met my husband, and we decided that we were going to get married, we were on the Upper West Side, and I said, "Well, tonight's on me. I'm going to take you to a very special place." So I took my husband to Papaya King. where you can get a
Papayas.
hot dog and
I hope a papaya.
and mango juice mixed together. Or
That sounds good.
Very good. So I now want to open up a Papaya King down here because I think we need it. And the store is just sort of like a open...
Well, you've got the nail color for it. Look at you. You're ready and bright. See, how could you even talk about sad things? Look at your nails. They're so bright and cheerful, right?
I wasn't talking... I didn't mean to. I hope I didn't sound like that.
No.
I didn't mean to talk about a sad thing.
Well,
what I meant to do...
Oh, I'm getting past a note to you.
Was to repeat a story. Okay. Please remember to... I never know where the notes come from here.
Okay. It's almost like God has just whooshed in and just blessed you with some thoughts. Got it.
Right. So I read your bio.
Thank you. Anything you had questions about?
No, I understand it because I used to use a concierge doctor.
Okay.
And I like that.
Did you already explain who I am?
I did, but why don't you introduce yourself? You'll do a better job
Who's
than me.
this gentleman behind me?
My husband, Michael.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you.
This is Pam.
So I'm Pam Polani. I am a local attorney. I was born and raised in the state of Florida. I love the state of Florida. It is a wonderful place to raise your children. It is a wonderful place to practice and work. And I'm also well known for my philanthropy. I handle wills, trust, probate, trust litigation, real estate litigation, contract reviews, foreclosure issues, and I have a boutique law firm. Mm-hmm. I am the senior partner because every woman should be on top. Mm-hmm. Freddie, I'm sorry. And I can almost hear him groaning.
I just heard him.
Yeah, did you? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and I have 2 attorneys who work with me. I have a legal assistant, a virtual assistant, and we all do incredible things for the community. And I'm proud to say that.
And I'm proud to know you.
Thank you. And I'm really happy because we just came off a major high. My law firm every year works with many other lawyers who do the same area of law as I do, as well as many other sponsors, from accountants to you name it, home health care. And we put on every year a luncheon to benefit Alzheimer's and dementia impacted families in our area. This year, we made it contribute to 3 major organizations, the FAU Memory Wellness Center, the Alzheimer's Community Care, and Alzheimer's Association. And we raise a lot of awareness, a lot of funds, and we have a great time doing it, too. So
my mother had Alzheimer's.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
and
that.
my father had dementia, and no, they were not married. So I'm quite familiar with these 2 illnesses, which really look the same.
Right.
But it's tough stuff in anything.
You say they look the same, but it's, the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia. Dementia is, I don't know where my keys are. Alzheimer's is, I'm holding this. I think I remember the word for it, but I'm not really sure what these things are when you're holding your keys. So that's the difference.
While we're talking about this, because sometimes I forget, especially when I'm tired, which I am tonight, if you'd like, because I would like, and I'm sure Pam would like, if you have any questions regarding lawyer stuff or questions
I like that.
to
Lawyer
me,
stuff.
lawyer stuff, or
that
questions,
big general catchphrase, lawyer stuff. Go for it.
but
Call
that's
us.
the deal. And you can ask me questions about how you get designer liners, which is at designerliners.com, or you can go to Amazon,
And she was
type
very
in
generous
designer
to
liners.
contribute one to each an attendee of our luncheon, which
Yes,
was
we
very
did.
generous of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, I'm sorry. If you
So
want
if you
to.
have any questions, and I hope you have questions, I hope there are people out there listening, please call us at 888-565-1470. You can find us on the radio at 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. So you want to go to break for a minute, and we'll do the commercial, and then we'll come back and we'll start all over because we
Sounds
get a
good.
duo.
Oh, we get a do-over?
Yeah.
I love it.
I like do-overs, right?
I do too.
Okay.
Everybody should have
All
a
right.
second chance.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Add that extra wow factor to your home or office wastebaskets with designer liners. Designer liners will turn an everyday home item into the pinnacle of decor at an affordable price. Available in a variety of prints from polka dots, zigzags to paisley. Dare to dream bigger with custom designer liners for your charity fundraiser or a company logo. Reusable as basket decor liners or gift bags and made in the USA. Designer liners will enhance any home or office. Get yours today at designerliners.com or wastebaskets.com. That's designerliners with an S.com.
You've been listening to Muriel Uncluttered, brought to you by Designer Liners, a wastebasket liner that will help you smile at your very own mess. Order today at 561-419-8791. Go to Amazon.com, type in Designer Liners, and you can order directly from there. Now let's get back to the program. And we're back with little gifts.
Yes.
Big gifts. Actually, they're
gifts.
from the heart, so they're big.
There
So
you go.
can you please show me how to use that?
So this is a little mailbox, and you can put the heart up. So like, when you have mail, right?
Right.
And your husband can put little love notes in it, right? Or Freddie can put little notes to remind you. Okay, but I put a monkey in it to remind you. Don't forget to sometimes monkey around. It's good to have a good laugh in life. Don't take yourself so seriously, 'cause nobody else
Last
will.
night, there was a little bit of tension in my house because sometimes there's tension, and I said that I was the judge.
Also, notice
And
I gave
now
you two of
have-
these.
No,
There's
not
one for your
getting the
husband,
other.
too.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I did. I did. I gave you one as well.
All right, fine. He can have it if he
Okay.
wants, but I'll never listen to him. So, tell me more about your practice because I think it's interesting. So, I'm at my bedside because I've fallen in the bank and I broke my leg. And
You would not call me. That's
I
a personal
would
injury attorney.
right, so you don't do personal injury.
I don't handle personal injury.
Okay,
I know many attorneys who do that, and I'm happy to refer to them.
right.
But my practice really focuses on taking care of you. And what I mean by that, from ages 18 to 98, my clients range in age. My advocacy is finding ways to help clients not only make sure that they have enough of the money and legal resources available to them throughout their
Can
whole
you tell
lifetime,
me what's
but also
legal resource? I'm sorry.
So my focus on legacy planning, because it used to be called estate planning, but the average age of a person in our country right now is, you're getting notes from everywhere. It's like great. Is a woman now, the life expectancy is somewhere in the late 80s. Okay. And for a man, that gap has gotten much higher as well, much shorter for men and women. And the average man is going to live to about 83, 84. So the idea that we're going to die in our early 60s or 70s is way done. And what unfortunately most people have not done enough planning to not only make sure their money and resources are going to last that amount of time, but also that their estate plan, their legacy plan is going to. It's not, most people will come in and say, I want to make sure that when I die, everything is going to my children. That's wonderful. Here's the reality. You're going to probably die not having those kind of assets to necessarily give your children any longer. The idea of mom and dad paid off their mortgage and had anything to even give over after they died to their children is becoming less and less a reality for a lot of modest to middle income families. Okay? Wealthier families, obviously, that's a whole nother issue. But I really try to focus on families that not only have resources, but those who don't. But also legally, you want to make sure that you have certain documents in place. So everyone from the age of 18 on should have 4 basic documents.
They are?
HIPAA,
Okay.
durable power of attorney,
Okay.
living will healthcare surrogate,
Okay.
and a pre-need designation of guardianship.
I'm sorry.
Pre-need
Yeah.
designation of guardianship. And
Oh,
that
my.
is,
That's a lot.
and that's a lot. And there's 4 documents. We actually do packages in my law firm for clients to make it very affordable so that, you don't pay a whole lot of money for this because they will stretch you for your lifetime. And it's the idea of you're going to have the control, not a court, of who's going to govern your body and your finances when, not if, you are unable to do so. the amount of incapacitation in our country is just growing higher and higher. And we live in a community where we know we are 34% over the age of 65. And every 10 years after 65, your chances, your probability of having some type of incapacity is exponentially higher and higher. Not having certain documents in place is just foolhardy. It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And we are a southern state. We definitely have certain things in place.
Excuse me, I want to
Sure.
ask you a question. When I go to the doctor's office and I sign a HIPAA piece of paper, that says that only my doctors and my husband...
Great question. So that document that you're signing for your doctor is not the same type of HIPAA form that I recommend my clients sign.
Okay.
That is a form just between your doctor and you and your insurance agents, all right, your insurance company, so that your doctor can release information to your insurance company so that your insurance company then in turn will pay your doctor's bill.
Okay.
Okay? It was actually a law that came in being because of AIDS. AIDS patients would go see their doctors.
Really?
Yes. HIPAA, that's why HIPAA grew out of, was the age of, in the 1980s when patients who had AIDS would go see their doctors, and the doctors were divulging client confidential information, and it would in turn make patients lose insurance availability. So now you sign a HIPAA, which gives your doctor the ability to release confidential information. If you don't sign it, your insurance company is not going to know that you saw that doctor, and he or she is not allowed to give that information out. That would be actually that would actually be an illegal issue you could raise if he actually or she actually, your doctor, gave out protected information. Mm-hmm. The HIPAA I'm actually recommending to clients is very similar and very different. It is so that you are releasing medical information to be released to the following individuals that you name. And the reason that this is important is that the average person in our state over 65 has relatives that live over 250 miles away.
Yeah.
No, it's not funny. That's to me, they move here from all over, from New Jersey, Canada, wherever, and their closest relative is over 250 miles away. So if something happens and they go to an emergency room or whatnot, their loved ones have no way of finding out what's going on. Not to make medical decisions, just to find out information. And with people having family members now all over the country, all over the world, you can imagine how frustrating this can be. And we also have a very different type of society. This is not when you and I were growing up, and you had 3 generations sometimes, and it wasn't unheard of, to have 3 generations living in the same building, okay? Mm-hmm. We don't have that anymore. Now we have lots of dissension between family members. People don't speak to their own brothers, their aunts, their cousins, their sisters, whatever, for years. So if you are in the hospital and you expect your brother to call your sister, who he has never talked to in 10 years, and say, hey, listen, our sister's in the hospital, and just letting you know, it's probably not going to happen. Or she's going to say, I don't trust what you're telling me. I want to hear from the doctor themselves. How is she going to get that information unless you have a HIPAA? And a lot of this is prevention. It's doing it before the actual problems hit. Mm-hmm. So my tagline is, before your troubles hit the fan, make sure to do your estate planning. Okay, make sure to do your estate plan. You don't want to wait until you're actually in that medical emergency to have to sign documents. I often recommend my clients get this HIPAA signed. You list out who you want to have medical information, not necessarily to make consents for you, just medical information released if you needed it. Okay. And that way, if something happened, they could provide information, they could provide credentials, they would get the information they want for you.
So my brother could call my doctor and say, how would he know to find my doctor?
Okay, so I'll give you for instance.
My brother doesn't have a list of my
Let's
doctors,
say,
but my husband does.
Okay, so let's say, and by the way, even between doctors and one another, so that they can speak with one another, you have to have a release, okay? So let's say for the instance of, I have a client, she gets in a car accident, right? And her caregiver knows her son lives nearby, calls the son and says, we were in a car accident, we're in the emergency room, okay? The son tries to call the emergency room to find out how his mother is, and the answer is going to be, without a HIPAA, without some type of medical release, we cannot tell you how your mother is. And the son lives maybe the son's on vacation and he needs to know if he's going to be able to have to fly home just to take care of his mom, right? And the mom's in no position to give the information out herself. That's why HIPAA can be very useful, okay? The second document I would tell you that I think is most important is the living will and healthcare surrogate.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. So this is no
I have
longer...
a friend who's all over me about this.
And your friend is right.
I'm sure.
Okay. So after Terry Schiavo, the laws in our state changed extremely. And it is no longer just that you're designating who's going to make an end-of-life decision. It's also, what are your end-of-life decisions? Do you want to be resuscitated? Do you want food and water given to you? Do you want to be an organ donor? What type of organ donation do you want? Do you want it for scientific purposes? Do you want it so that you'll be a cadaver in a science room, okay, for experimentation? Do you want it for just life-saving organs? Eyes, cornea, those things that can actually just make a difference in that way. Mm-hmm. All those things should be addressed in your living will, as well as non-emergency issues. For instance, again, the woman gets in a car accident. She's not going to die, but they feel that she has swelling on the brain. They put her in a medically induced coma, and while she's in the medically induced coma, something happens. They need to do a medical procedure, but now this woman's in a medical induced coma. Right. She's not giving consent.
No.
Who's giving consent in that situation? She's not dying, but consent has to be given. And unless they have something written off...
I would imagine that would be the person who has power of attorney.
Okay, but when you're saying power of attorney
Too
for
broad.
most people could be financial. We're not talking health care. So that's where the living will would come into place. And this is not, again, that's why it's a healthcare surrogate living will. It's one document. You're going to designate who's going to make medical decisions for you, not just for end of life, but also in situations where you can't give consent. So I had a client say, well, if I was in a car accident, I would tell them. I'm like, but you were in a car accident. You might be under stress or duress. They're not going to consider that a valid consent for you to release information and consent. These are things that you need to take care of beforehand. When there is no exigent circumstance, when there is no pressing matters happening, so that you can have it witnessed, notarized. And I often suggest, having an attorney have their name on the documents, because no one's going to mess or question a document that has a law firm's stamp on, behind every page.
Right.
Okay. A lot of times people will download a document and think, well, this will be fine. And you won't know if it's fine until it's too late. Right. And that's not the time you want to find out that document that you try to save pennies on is going to cost you a lot more money, because now somebody has to run to court to get court approval just to make a decision on your behalf. Those are medical things. So those two documents, the HIPAA, the healthcare surrogate living will, those deal with your medical proxies, your medical powers of attorney, okay? Powers of attorney for finances is also very important. We are the highest level of elders and seniors in the country. And it's no doubt also why we are also the #1 state for consumer fraud. They go hand in hand, okay? We have companies that are literally targeting people, and most people in this world have a digital footprint. You have an email, you have Google accounts, you have PayPal accounts, Facebook, Twitter. All these things are digital assets. We're getting stalked outside.
I don't know.
And these are all things that they are watching you for.
Why don't we hold on? Because apparently there are questions for you here.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Can we go back to that?
Right. So we'll talk about
Pam,
financial decisions
what type
after.
of clients do you help?
I think I help anyone from 18 to 65.
Okay.
Right? And then, of course, I help everybody from 65 and on, right? I would love to help people, though. My primary concentration is trying to get people, before they become seniors, put things in place.
That'd be me right now.
Right. And why? Because we do have a 5-year look-back period for certain federal benefits. So having...
What's a 5-year look-back period?
Well, that's a very complicated question to answer in a short period of time. So I'm going to say to you, one of the biggest problems most people do is their finances are set up in a way that they own too much money to qualify for certain benefits from the federal government.
Okay.
So if you do estate planning at an earlier enough age where you can financially and legally set yourself up so that you will receive the utmost amount of benefits, I always think pre-planning is going to help you so that later on as you get older, you will have an easier time of transitioning. It'll already be in place. And what I'm talking about are trusts and things like that. Okay.
Okay. Question number 2. My kids are in college, and I was told they need legal documents so I can help them as a parent.
Great question. I do, as I said, advocate between 18 and 65. One of the biggest things I always hear from parents is, why does my son need to sign a living will? He's still a dependent on my taxes. He's still on my health insurance plan. If he has a broken arm or he needs medical treatment, I'm his parent. But he's now 19 years old. He is, after 18, in the eyes of the United States government, an adult.
Okay.
You cannot make decisions for him or her because they are adults. They now need to have their own legal documents. Whether you pay a person's bills or not does not give you...
This is all new, isn't it?
No. Mm-mm. I think that most people just are not
When I was
well-versed.
growing up, my parents didn't say you have to sign this or that.
I think it might have been different also because my mom got married at 18. My mom was an adult. She was having a child at 19. How old were you when you got married first time?
54.
54? Wow, you are a late bloomer.
I am
I'm
going
to say that there is, I think that there's a whole nother generation that, yes, laws have evolved. But then again, women also now have the right to vote. I often hear, why do I have to have a will if my husband has a will? Aren't we the same because we're married? No. You're two adults. You're two separate individuals. And all the documents I'm talking about, if your husband has a living will, that doesn't mean you have a living will. I've actually had people yell at me and say, no, my mom signed a durable power of attorney for me. I'm like, I understand, but the asset, the financial asset, the bank account is in your father's name. But I have a durable power of attorney, but it's from your mom. It's not from your dad. People are individuals. Each individual over 18 has to have their own legal documents, their own legal resources made available to them. Okay? So if you're asking, I never heard about this. I don't know a lot of things about New York. Does that mean that they don't exist? No. It means that we're not always well-versed in things until it becomes an issue. Most people don't think about a lot of the things we're talking about right now until there's a pressing need. They lost somebody they loved, and they have to get that asset. That's usually when most people come to me.
Another friend of mine is living in her mother's home with a reverse mortgage. The mother passed away
Okay, well, hold on.
3
Wait.
days
Hold the
ago.
thought. Hold the thought. Let me just finish the answer to the second question, okay? So you have an adult child. Does that adult child need to sign legal documents? Again, a lot of the documents that I'm advocating that people have, the 4 basic documents, have to deal with your body and yourself. They don't have to deal with having finances. Your child might be 19 years old and have no bank accounts, have no money, no house. That doesn't mean that their most valuable asset should not be addressed, which is themselves. And that should be addressed in a HIPAA and a living will and healthcare surrogate at minimum. But again, most children have at 18 some type of bank account. The worst cases I get is, unfortunately, young men have a higher probability of some type of fatality until the age of 24. And there will be a bank account, and the parents will say, my son died, he was 22 years old. I'm his parents, we should be getting the bank account. It would have been really easy had they established the bank account in a certain way, or they'd had documents signed before his death that they could have had access to it, which they didn't have. Okay.
And then what happens when you don't have it?
That's an interesting question. It sometimes involves probate. And depending on the asset, what kind of level court involvement it's going to get. Okay. Now moving on to your question about reverse mortgages.
Okay, so my friend moved in with her mother.
Okay.
Mother was 90-something, passed away 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and my friend has to move out of this house.
Well, yes,
by
because
March
her mother
30th.
doesn't own the house.
Exactly right. Where do you get housing for a person who's basically indigent and Now what?
Not really sure, although I'm sympathetic to the situation, highly. It's more common than you think. Because, again, it goes back to that premise of we are now living longer and longer. Right? And people are not understanding or preparing themselves for that longevity. So what a lot of people do is they will do a reverse mortgage on a house that was already paid off. They'll get a lump sum, $200,000, hopefully invest it, and they hopefully make it to the rest of their lives on that money, right? But their children are not going to inherit anything because now they traded in the equity and all that for that house with that reverse mortgage. So this child who lived on that property, I'm going to say, and I hope this doesn't sound too callous, God gave you 2 legs. Use them. Stand on them.
No, I agree. I hear you.
Now, I hear it all the time. I deal with it. So for probate, I have a case right now going on, and I talked to my client, and her thing was, I don't understand. My mom had a property. Mom died. The property was in her name, the mother's name. In order for the daughter to get title of the property and to be able to sell it, we had to go through probate. And probate is the court involvement, letting a public proceeding to decide who's going to get the house, right? So the daughter is going to receive the house. And at the end of the day, I'm going to get paid for my services in helping her get the house. And she says, well, it's not fair. Why are you getting paid so much money? The house isn't really worth that much.
Oh, my God.
And I said, well, I did a service for you. You now have $85,000. Okay? And she says, well, but I want more. You need to reduce your legal fees. And I said, you understand you're not even entitled to the $85,000. And her response was, of course I am. I'm her daughter. No. I tell my children you're entitled to nothing but my love and my respect if you earn it.
Well,
okay.
Good mommy.
Well, and the idea being is children, adult children, really are not entitled to anything. You can disinherit adult children. I, as a mom, don't have to give to my children. Okay? Don't worry, kids. I'll give you what I got. But don't kill me off yet. But the bottom line is you don't want to necessarily set that up. And most people come into a view of entitlement. So when you're talking about this woman living on the property who lived on her mother's property as an adult child for free, no charge, now has to move off the property, if she's capable of finding other housing,
she's wounded.
Then she needs to.
She's wounded. I mean, there are physical problems, but I've got a lot of physical problems
there are
too.
Federal,
but I can work. I've done in my life.
But that's not a legal question.
Liners.
That's not a legal question. I'm just going to say let's move off it because it's not a legal question that I can address. There are certain government entities and whatnot. That's not an area that I do.
Okie dokie. So we'll go to a question then. You know what? Let's go to commercial. Before we do a question, let's go to commercial.
Add that extra wow factor to your home or office wastebaskets with designer liners. Designer liners will turn an everyday home item into the pinnacle of decor at an affordable price. Available in a variety of prints from polka dots, zigzags to paisley. Dare to dream bigger with custom designer liners for your charity fundraiser or a company logo. Reusable as basket decor liners or gift bags and made in the USA. Designer liners will enhance any home or office. Get yours today at designerliners.com or wastebaskets.com. That's designerliners with an S.com.
You've been listening to Muriel Uncluttered, brought to you by Designer Liners, a wastebasket liner that will help you smile at your very own mess. Order today at 561-419-8791. Go to Amazon.com, type in Designer Liners, and you can order directly from there. Now let's get back to the program. And we are back, and I have questions. People are calling in. Thank you for calling in. Pam, here's a question from somebody listening.
Oh, yay.
Somebody's
listening.
Somebody's listening. If my child studies abroad this summer, do I need any documents in place?
Okay. So I'm going to answer that question. But first of all, yay, people are listening. That's because you have great producers. Thank you, Don and Freddie, for making sure that this show is happening. Thank you again for having me on the show. So before I get into the answer, if your adult child is studying or you're traveling yourself, any adult, I always say yes, there should be documents in place, again, for the same thing. Now, what the laws are in the United States are not the laws in Italy. So let's say your child is going to Spain and something befalls that child. Will the hospital in Spain release medical information? The answer is I don't know, because I am not licensed and barred in Spain. So what I always think it's a good precaution, though, to make sure that if, God forbid, your child had to be flown back from Spain and you had to give medical consent on behalf of your child so that you would have the ability in the United States to do so, yes. So you would want to make sure your adult child signs documents. Again, take care of yourself. The empty pitcher does not pour water. You want to always make sure you are always taking care of the most important asset you have. That is not your bank account. That's not your house. That is you. That is your entity. So that's a simple answer. So.
Okay. Hope that helped. The next question is, you're going to love this.
Oh, boy.
Will you come to my home or office to meet?
That is a great question.
I knew
That is
you'd like
exactly, that actually is a big part of my practice. So I'm a litigator, but one of the things I do as far as my firm is I donate 3 Sundays a month, and I travel to different people, to their homes, their offices on Sundays to address their estate planning needs. Why? A lot of people in our community are homebound for one reason or another. Maybe they're older. Sometimes it's a young family. They're 2 working parents. I actually had 2 families like this recently. I really enjoyed meeting with them. And they have young children, and they wanted to speak to an attorney. And they're both working. So between 9 to 5, they're not making it to a law firm because they both have to be present. And that would require both of them leaving their jobs to talk to an attorney. So I'm really excited when a young couple calls me and says, can you come to our house? And I'll say, sure. Let grandma or grandpa watch the kids for an hour or so. And let me tell you what you might want to do to protect your children and protect yourself, right? The other reason I do it is the issue of dementia. When someone comes into my law firm wanting to do estate planning, they might look very fine. Their child got them all dressed and cleaned up for that moment. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll have a very nice conversation, but I will not know that person. When I go into someone's home, I see their tchotchkes, I see if the house is clean, I see if there's hoarding, I see if there's milk spilt on the countertops. I can tell you very quickly what they're into, what kind of collections they have. Maybe there's a gun up on the wall, and we have to address, the issue of having guns, firearms. Maybe they have a Yadro collection that they want to talk about. All of a sudden, I'll see pictures. They'll start talking about the children. And then the child who had me come visit mom, it turns out he wanted all the inheritance to go to him, but mom has 3 other children.
Right.
Because I see the pictures on the wall, right? So now I know, oh, no, wait a second. I would have never learned that. If the son brings in mom and says she wants to make her whole estate go to me, how would I know otherwise? But going into our apartment, I get a much fuller picture. And it's also I get to see what they're like.
How do you tackle a situation like that? I mean, you're an attorney. You are a hired gun.
I explain to any...
And how would you say?
Because I actually will not be a hired gun.
Okay.
I explain to them, you might pay for my services, but my client is your mother. Or my client is the person who I'm drafting for.
Okay.
Right? So someone can pay my legal fees that's other than the person I'm drafting. But if I did it for you, you would be my client. So the woman who I see in front of me who might have dementia, if I feel that there's some type of incapacity issue, I'm going to stop. I'm going to then call the resources that I have available to me to make sure that she's being protected. And because she is a vulnerable adult under the Florida statutes, to make sure that her adult child doesn't try to do this with another attorney.
Okay.
Okay. And that's really what I think sets me apart and distinguishes me in our community. And I'm not alone in this. A lot of probate and estate planning attorneys are very well aware that dementia is a major issue in our community, and we need to advocate for those who don't have a voice. That's why I do a luncheon. That's why I created the Boca Walk to end Alzheimer's through the Alzheimer's Association, and that's why I do the luncheon as well. These two events have really helped make me help others understand why dementia and Alzheimer's in our community needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with you. I don't
So
have that
for a
much
really
to say
happy and
tonight.
fun person, I get very serious about those issues.
That's okay. You should be serious. There's
Right.
serious issues. Another question. What if my spouse and I don't agree on guardianship of our children in our documents?
That's a great question.
Good audience
It is.
tonight.
It is a good question. Thank you.
She's a good guest.
So the bottom line is, if you and your husband have produced 2 children, and those are your biological children together, the mom dies, the father is going to have full parental control of those 2 children. When he dies, that's his determination is going to be who's going to be the guardian. So if he puts in writing, my wife has died, I'm the sole surviving natural parent and guardian of these 2 minor children, and if I should die, then this is who I should designate. The court will look into the best interest of the child. So let's say the father says, I want it to be, I don't know, Dulcimer. Okay, I don't know, you name it, right? Somebody, okay, and the court says, no, that's a known felon. He's a cannibal. We're not giving him to the children to that, right? Even if the father puts it in writing, that's not going to happen. However, if the
Will
father,
the court really step in?
of course, the court, even if a parent puts in
Social Services is not separate
Department
and
of Children
apart.
and Families is going to make a determination. Right. They're going to investigate. They're going to report their findings to the court, right. And the court's going to have a hearing on who's going to be the guardian of those children, no matter what. Okay. So even if you put in who you wish to have as a guardian, the court is going to get involved if the child is without natural parents, and there's nothing in writing, especially. Even if there is something in writing, and the court feels it's not in the best interest of the child to be with that person, they'll step in and take control. Wow. Okay. But the bottom line is, the answer is whoever dies last. So let's say mom and dad both do documents, and mom says, if I survive, it's going to be my mother who has guardianship. And let's say the dad says, if I survive, it's going to be my brother who has guardianship. It's going to be whoever survives last is going to win. And there's always one who survives the other. Legally, when 2 people die in a car accident, one always dies first. A determination is always made. It's just the way it is. Even in airplane crashes, they have a scientific formula for it, and they will say, this person was sitting here, so they had to, based on all the factors involved, they died at this time. The person next to them died at this time.
I hear you. I watch a lot of Law and Order, so I mean, I'm understanding a bit of this, but not all of it.
See, who knew probate could be so exciting?
Right? Really? No, it is exciting. I mean, I need to do it.
Well,
I have to do it.
Every person should do it, because the answer is, why would you leave the court system in the state of Florida to make determinations for you? When this is your given right. You are a United States citizen. Why would you not exercise your right to make the determinations of your health, your finances for yourself? And the paperwork is relatively simplistic. There's some bumps sometimes when people ask me who should do this or what should that. But once they do it, my answer is always, don't you feel better? I mean, truthfully, you said, Pam, who are you? And I respond and I say, well, I'm an attorney, I'm a mom, I'm a philanthropist, right? I do all these things. But what I really do is help people sleep well at night. I give them hope, I inspire, hopefully, and I make them know that there's going to be a better tomorrow because of what they do today.
That's very good. I like that. And now we're going to go to commercial break.
Having fun yet? Am I keeping you awake? I'm keeping you awake.
Add that extra wow factor to your home or office wastebaskets with designer liners. Designer liners will turn an everyday home item into the pinnacle of decor at an affordable price. Available in a variety of prints from polka dots, zigzags to paisley. Dare to dream bigger with custom designer liners for your charity fundraiser or a company logo. Reusable as basket decor liners or gift bags, and made in the USA. Designer liners will enhance any home or office. Get yours today at designerliners.com or wastebaskets.com. That's designerliners with an S.com.
You've been listening to Muriel Uncluttered, brought to you by Designer Liners, a wastebasket liner that will help you smile at your very own mess. Order today at 561-419-8799. 91. Go to Amazon.com, type in designer liners, and you can order directly from there. Now let's get back to the program.
Yeah, that's Tuesday night, 6 to 7 at Oceans.
Hey, where's Ocean?
In Deerfield, right on A1A. On A1A.
What?
Well, we're on.
And we're on. Calm down. Okay,
She's not telling me that. She's telling her husband.
Wouldn't say that to the lawyer.
No.
My goodness.
Well, I do have a shirt that says, keep calm or I'll use my lawyer voice. Right?
Oh, really? I
do.
want that.
Yeah.
My friend calls it what does she tell me? My devil voice. She says, don't you use that devil voice with me.
Oh, I like devil voice.
Devil voice.
I tell people all the time when they say, how come you do so much philanthropy? I say, well, when I die, I hope that, I'll end up being like very tan. I'm trying to prevent extra crispy. I am an attorney. Right?
Say again.
When I die.
You want to be tan?
I don't mind being tan.
Yeah?
I just don't want to end up being extra, extra crispy. In the pits of fire.
Oh, that?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm not going there. It's
well,
too much fun
I'm not
down
talking
there.
about you. I'm talking about me because I'm an attorney.
Oh, and we're talking about you.
Right.
Oh,
right.
okay.
The light bulb went on her head.
A little sleepy.
My husband is a general contractor. I'm an attorney. So we tell people our children have no morals,
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
When I die, I've actually indicated in my will that my Facebook status should be changed to it's not as hot down here as I thought it would be.
My headstone is going to say, I told you I didn't feel good.
I'm actually indicated that I want to be cremated because it will be my last chance at having a hot, smoking body.
Oh, you're so funny.
She just got that.
No, I got that. That's not nice. I did get that one.
Okay.
I got that one.
You
Don't
got that
worry.
one.
Yeah. So what other things, tell me about your philanthropy. 'Cause
Before I
that's
get there,
very
what? Since we're
interesting.
talking about different, I would
Talk
say
about
to
whatever
you,
you want then.
the other thing is I would always advise, you are a person with individual quirks, likes, needs. You should have legal documents that reflect that. When you go into an attorney or you get any document offline or wherever you're going to do your documents, although I don't recommend that, make sure they reflect you, your personality. I actually have very complicated instructions on what should happen with my children, with my life, when I die, what kind of memorial I would like, what I do want as my last wishes. I even have when I'm, if gosh forbid I'm in a coma, what I would want to see done, the kind of music I would want to have piped in. What
my God, I don't think
and I
that
tell my
much
clients
about
all the
it.
time, think about it. This is important. This is you. Make it reflect you. You don't need to have a boilerplate document. You need to have something, again, so that when you go to bed at night, you say, you know what? This is a reflection of me. And I also advise people that when you do your estate documents, don't let that legal paperwork be the last thing your children or loved ones have of you. Put a little note in there in your estate package saying a letter of who, what they meant to you. Put a CD together of favorite songs. Put a book in there dedicated to them, whatever. But most people look at a will and say, this is all I have left of my mother. I've actually had to fight with clients and say, no, we have to take the original will and we have to deposit it with a court. And they go, but this is the last thing my mother signed. I'm like, are you kidding me? And yet it sounds silly to you. But when you lose someone and it's the last thing that you think that they had, it becomes very dear to you.
When my mother passed away, we were about the same size. I would say, because I would go through all kinds of different mourning stages, and when I was particularly vulnerable, I would wrap myself up in Mommy and wear one of her sweaters, or wear, something
and
that
so
was
now,
wrap myself up in
you know
Mommy.
what people wrap themselves up in? Social media. What has the decedent left? Their Facebook pictures, their Shutterfly. And so one of the new things that you also have to think about, and if you haven't done it, is think about what's going to happen to all those digital assets. What do you want to see happen with your Facebook pictures, your Shutterfly pictures, your PayPal accounts?
What should be done?
That's up to you. Every person is different. Some people think that they want to have their Facebook account closed. Some people say they want to make it into a memorial. These are things you should talk about with your estate planning attorney. You also want to talk about your pets. The number one thing
she told me that too.
I always, one of the reasons, again, I like to go to people's homes, if they come into my office, they do not tell me about their beloved dogs or cats or parrots or snakes or, in some cases, wallabies. So I think you do need to address those issues, right? And that should also be a reflection of you, okay? Don't let, your life be forgotten. Maybe this is also a great time, since you mentioned philanthropy. I really love estate planning, and it goes hand to hand in with my philanthropy, because I encourage people, make that charitable gift upon your death. If you're an advocate for American Cancer Society, provide them a gift. It will be so appreciated, right? If you are an advocate for humane treatment of dogs, make that gift. Do that. Make that a reflection in your estate planning.
Something's happening. I hear music.
It's like angels.
I know. What does that mean?
I think we're 1 minute. I think it's time. We're already done.
That was so quick.
I know.
Pam, I want to thank you very much for joining me. I didn't have a lot to say tonight. I seemed uncluttered because I was quiet, but really I'm very cluttered. I want to thank you. I want your card.
Okay.
I'll spread the word. And I think that's it.
Great. Well, thank you for having me come tonight.
I'll see you Tuesday. Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you again for being a wonderful sponsor. The liners were a big hit. The designer liners, yes, they're a big hit.
Good.
So thank you again for contributing. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
My pleasure.
And I look forward to seeing you soon.
You too. Good night.